employees out there could sign up to be an online proctor if they so wished, and they would just go through Pearson to do this. And Chris, there's a question, is this meeting being recorded?
I forgot to hit it at the start of the meeting, but it will be recorded from this point on.
Thank you. Next. Just to go over, as it was mentioned earlier, Eric is gone. We're all sad about that. He kind of keeps us all on our toes around here. The CCRS guidelines, all instructional staff and administrative leadership should complete the overview. Instructional staff must complete all modules for each subject area they teach. Administrative leadership must complete all modules for at least one subject area. ESL instructors are exempt. And I wanted to go over this because there seems to be some confusion, and I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. This is, and when we get to it, I'll talk about how many trainings have been done, and you have all been wonderful to work with, and I really, really thank you for that. All trainings must be completed within 6 months of hire. I've seen quite a few people that left, let's say they left in, June, but they'd been here for a while and had never completed the training. It really needs to be completed within 6 months of hire. Once a staff member has completed their overview in our subject area, they are not expected to repeat it each year. I've had that question. Well, do they then have to do it each year to keep current? No, at this time they do not. New staff, you just need to contact me with a full name, email address, and their title so I can open their CCRS account, and then they receive an email. And as you know, you can always call me, have them call me if you have any questions. Please keep CABLR updated on those that have left your organization. Accounts will be inactivated. Like they're going to want to probably go in there and train anyway if they're not an employee, but we do want to inactivate those. So next. Directors will periodically, and you have been receiving updates and status, not real recent because we really haven't had that many people doing any. If you ever see any discrepancies, please contact me once you review that, and you're more than welcome to holler back at me on that. If employees do not pass their test, we have to reset that, but that's not something I can do. It's actually something that Wichita State does, and then they'll receive a notification that that test has been reset. If employees are unable to gain access to their account, just have them contact me because I can reset their password and get that done for them. I think this is a big drum roll. Congrats to all of you and your employees this year. 650 trainings were completed from July of 2019 to June of 2020. I think that is phenomenal, and hats off to all of you. That is just in that year's time. That's not all of them together. That's just 1 year. So kudos to all of you for that process. I can't even tell you, I looked at that and I thought, wow, that's an accomplishment. So congratulations on that. Any questions thus far on the CCRS? Gosh, you guys are a quiet group today. Okay, we're going to move into time and effort. Obviously, that's monthly. And then our semi-annual will be your January through June, which is due in July. July through December is due in January. One of the big hiccups that I am seeing is a signature and then a pass date. So I think some of you may cut and paste your time and effort. And so it'll be for July, but there's a signature date of June. And so a signature cannot be prior to the end of the period being reported. So those have to be redone. And I have sent those back to you to get those redone. If an employee has only worked, let's say, a partial month, it is actually helpful to have that documented on the form. You could write that on the form. So you can absolutely do that without any issue. And that's pretty helpful, actually. Next.
And so this is Connie. I might share that that time and effort reporting requirement is a federal requirement. So it's something that we don't have control over. We have developed the process through our monitoring visit with Octave, which I'm happy to share with everyone that although it's been almost 2 years since that occurred, today we actually got the final approval of our corrective action plan, which we didn't finish until about a month ago because we had to submit documents from our process of selecting providers. So it's been a long drawn out process, and we received that today. So happy Monday. But the time and effort is a federal requirement. So I just wanted to toss that in there, Sue. It's not something, I think they used to blame it on Eric.
Yeah, now it's being blamed on me. Thank you very much. But one of the things that is very helpful is you can keep us in the loop when an employee leaves. And I know you have so many things to do, but I was telling Janice just this morning that it's actually kind of handy for me because once I get that last date of employment, I am checking time and effort, CCRS, and GED manager so I can make sure that that individual's deactivated. So you don't have to contact me about all of those areas, which before, I know Eric asked for some dates and then I would ask for GED manager. So right now that's extremely, extremely helpful. I can just look up all of them and take care of that. All time and effort reports should be sent to the adult ed reports at ksbor.org. So I would greatly appreciate if you would just send it to that location. Next. Okay, oh, drum roll. Before I do that though, and ask you your second trivia question, are there any questions? Are there any concerns? Is there anything that you need information on? Any feedback?
So it looks like there's a question in the chat about the PAR. So just for clarification, if you have someone who works 100% of time from one funding source, then you report it 2 times a year. If they are paid with multiple funding streams, that's when you have to report it monthly. So Sue, I'll just let you jump. Matt Cannell, does that help?
It does. Sue, when you said time and effort, you're referring to the monthly PARs that we're sending in. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I would be the one, Maria, that you would contact for CCRS and GED manager. So I would be the one that, and our information will be provided to you. So you will have that because I know you probably don't know who to contact for what. So we can certainly get that information to you. Good question.
And I will also share that we're going to do new director training this fall. And assuming will still be virtual, you are definitely welcome to add on other staff if that's helpful. But definitely, Maria, if you'll reach out to Sue, and she could even, schedule a one-on-one call, and anyone else could be involved in that as well.
And I think we are more than happy to do any training that you need. We are more than happy for you to pick up the phone and call us about any question. We are very available and do not ever want you to feel like you can't ask questions or make phone calls to us. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve you. Any other questions? Okay. How many justices serve on the Kansas Supreme Court? How many justices serve on the Kansas Supreme Court? No Googling.
It's like we have an answer.
but they're not correct.
Okay.
Still not correct. Okay, Kelly Mowbray, ding, 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 you're the winner. 7 is the,
That was a total guess.
well, you guessed well, girl. So,
Taylor,
okay,
are you going to tell them the source of some of
Hey,
your questions?
hey, I was before Kelly.
Did you guess 7?
I did. It says from me to, oh crap, I went to,
I was gonna say, it's not on mine, Karen.
oh,
It's a conspiracy against you, Karen.
I guess so. I'm out. Bye.
Wish I could be that good a guesser in other parts of my life.
Congratulations. And again, it is really my pleasure to work with all of you, and thank you for everything that you do, and I really do enjoy it. So everybody have a great day, and I'm in and out. So
Okay, so moving to the next slide, I want to talk a moment about Career Navigator. This is going to be a new thing for us, a new initiative with in 2020, 2021. And I'll be working with each of the program directors to roll this out and to contact you and have more conversations. So this is just very high level thoughts at this point, but much more information to come. And if I probably have minimal answers to some of your questions, but basically our whole goal is to have at each program, and we understand you may have this already, but to have one central point of contact for the career navigation piece. So you may have 4 or 5 people right now in your center who are working with students on post-secondary articulation, going to post-secondary programs, job connections, the career piece, that type of thing. But what we really want is a standard across the state. So at each program has a minimum of 1 person. We are going to pay this person a stipend, so it will be with some federal funds. We'll have to be careful that it's not supplanting, but it will be above and beyond the current duty. So it'll be something a little bit more than what they are maybe doing right now. And this isn't a whole, quarter-time job. This isn't, but it's just simply designating someone at each program to be that person to go to for the career navigation piece, and hopefully just be that central point of contact, and then make connections within our workforce system. So below that, the next slide, you'll see that, the goal is, oops, I mean next slide, I meant next bullet. Sorry about that, Chris. So the goal is to connect and collaborate with the local workforce system, the workforce board chairs, the Kansas Work State Board representatives, and I know both the chair and vice chair are super busy, but I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to be pretty sure we can get someone from the state board involved in the conversation, and I'll start with the chair, David Harwood. Your local Title IV representatives and community and tech colleges. So this is something that will be new and outside the scope of those of you that are sitting on the local boards. In some areas across the state, I know there are great relationships and collaborative arrangements and conversations, but we really want to have that one person in your program that's going to then connect with these other groups of folks. So much more to come on this, but I did want to toss this out of something that we're going to kind of pilot in the upcoming year, see how this works. And I do know, that the bulleted list there that you see there are very interested in connecting with Title II reps, with you guys, the program leaders. So we are excited about this, and I'm happy to answer questions. As I said, this is in its baby stages, but I would entertain any questions that I might be able to answer at this point. Okay, so hearing none, you might just kind of think about within your program, who might be someone that you would select to be that representative for your adult ed program. So that might be something you're thinking about, and then we will definitely be circling back with much more information to come as we get that developed. Okay, so now we have another trivia question. And the question is, I know you all have your chat poised and ready to roll, right? What year did Kansas become a state? Okay, it looks like Bill is our winner. I tried to teach my granddaughter winner, winner, chicken dinner yesterday, and she told me it was winner, winner, chicken nugget, Bill, but you're it.
I'm good with chicken nuggets.
I thought her version sounded okay.
Like $10 worth.
Yeah, a little humorous. So the answer is 1861, and Bill DeWitt at Lawrence is our winner. So congratulations, Bill. And Chris, I'm going to toss it over to you right now, okay? And you can get our folks going with A-OK at work.
Well, it looks like Lisa Beck is ready and raring to go with the Board of Regents logo background.
Snappy, huh?
Yeah, it's fancy. So we will go ahead and turn it over to Lisa and Aaron to update you all on that project.
All right. Well, I feel like this gives me a crown, right? The Kansas Board of Regents crown. That's what we have here. A-OK at work. Well, unfortunately, the pandemic hit our service sector employees the hardest. And those were the ones that this grant is serving. So it was difficult for our providers to be able to continue in the workplace. So the grant, for those of you that are new, this grant is from Walmart, and it is to provide service sector, retail, hospitality employees opportunity at education in the workplace, and oftentimes on work time at the workplace. So they don't have to go anywhere to get this training. It's no cost to the student, and it's no cost to the employer if other than any incentives that they might want to provide. So it's a wonderful opportunity, but we had a little bit of a slowdown. However, we did have a meeting with Walmart, and they are still committed to this program and still want to continue and get things back up and running for everyone. Some have still been able to do some things virtually, but a lot of it did have to hold up a little bit. We do still have some funds available for this program. So if anyone is interested in getting back on the wagon with this, and you didn't get in on the first round, certainly give Aaron and I, contact us, email us, give us a call, let us know, and we will work out what it is that you are interested in and what you need to do to get some of those funds. If anyone has been able to continue, I think a few have been able to continue, they've switched to online instruction and virtual meetings with those employees, because of course the employers would not let most of the instructors back into their businesses after the quarantine started. And Kelly, I see that you're still interested, so that's fantastic. Yeah, if anybody's interested, just put it in the chat that you are interested in that, and we will get back to you and work through that. Who has been able to get back into their businesses? Those that are already on the grant. Colby's still interested, that's fantastic. Highland is good for you, Mary? Yes.
This is Sherry from Butler, and we just started last week back with two of our employers. One, we still cannot get back in, but we had 14 in one of the classes, and the other one has only 4. They're still pretty hesitant. So we thought that was pretty good, but we're back in the employer's location.
Fantastic. Or were you doing anything virtually with the students?
We were.
You were doing it virtual?
We were doing it virtually, and we will continue virtual so that if something happens, they'll be ready. The other group was one that we were supposed to start in April, and so we never did anything with them because we didn't start.
Okay.
And so this last week was their first day.
Okay. Walmart has been very flexible with us and what we can do, since it was supposed to be, the classes were supposed to be held at the business location, was one of the pieces of this grant, but they've been very flexible with us in order to have us do some virtual meetings and trainings with the employees. So we do have some flexibility there with these businesses if you can't actually get into the business. And I see I have several that are interested, so we will get with you and try to work out some details of what you need to get us and what you're interested in. You will hear from a couple of folks tomorrow about what they've been doing during this pandemic for their instruction for that, so that will be good to hear. And we also, I've mentioned before, but I wanted to remind you, we do have some customized marketing materials available. And if you're interested in those, please contact Erin or myself, and we will be able to help you with getting those created. So Chris, if you'll go to the next slide, we'll show you a couple of the pieces that we have. So this first one is an FAQ for employers. And we filled this in with the information. Any of this can be changed to specifically be used for you. At the bottom left, of course, there's a find out more, and it has my name. That's where we can customize it to your name and your institution or your group, whoever it is you want to have contact. And you can give this to employers as you're going to them so that they can have a little bit of something in their hand and understand what it is that you're doing for them. So that's one of our pieces that can be customized. And next one, Chris, we have a couple of posters that are available. This is one of the posters. Again, we can customize the find out more information where it has Erin. We don't have to keep Erin there. We can have your name and down there. And you can have those posted at the place of employment to help the employees learn what might be available. And we have one more poster design. This is another style of poster, again, customizable. So it's something that we will have to customize for you. So if you'll just let us know what you would like, and we can fill out the information in the find out more section with your information, and then we can send you the PDFs and you can use those however you would like. Erin, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
I would just say every time we've talked to Walmart, they've been really impressed with your progress, and they are very committed to this program. They've expressed that every time, that they're just kind of dazzled by what you all have done and what you continue to do, and they are really committed to keeping with it. So I've taken notes of people that have questions, so we'll be happy to reach out to you guys. And anybody else, we're happy to have a one-on-one call, or if it helps to have a group call, we can do that also. So whatever you guys need, we're here. And looking forward to what I'll do next.
And anyone that's new, if you need to know more information about it, if you don't know what this is, this program, we'd be happy to explain it and go into detail of what this program can do for you. Some extra funds for you to be able to get things going in another fashion with some businesses. So that is pretty much A-OK at work. We will get back to everyone, as Erin said. And again, as Erin said, thank you so much for all that you have done. Kansas does look very good in the eyes of Walmart. You have done an excellent job. they've been very pleased with our progress and all the work that you have done. So thank you for that. And thank you for continuing to push and trying to get into those businesses. I know it's difficult. I know sometimes it's quite the sale to get to the businesses, but thank you for trying and thank you for pushing and getting in there and helping these employees out. So I think now it's my turn for a trivia question, number 4. So everyone get your fingers poised on the keyboard and get ready to type. The question is, who is the current Lieutenant Governor of Kansas? Dun, dun, dun. Anyone? Anybody? I don't see anything coming.
No, so far nothing.
No.
The current Lieutenant Governor of Kansas.
I think we stumped them.
Oh, we got one. Partial.
We need a last name.
There it is. Boom. Janice got it. That's because we're trying to look it up. Yes, I realize that. Yes, but you got it, Janice. Thank you very much. Lynn Rogers is the current Lieutenant Governor. Thanks, everyone.
So I am going to take this time to jump in before we go to our next topic, and suggest that we take a 5 to 10 minute break. I don't know how everyone feels about the length of the break, but I think that would probably be a good idea before we go on. We're kind of moving pretty quick through things. So it is 2:02 right now. So let's plan on starting back up. We'll just round up to 2:15. And we'll try to get out early too, Matt. So you should now be able to see the FY21 budget on your screen. What we've done for the initial one is take out the columns that we had for the modification and the final. But I'll go through the process I would like to see when you do. Submit a modification. Does someone have a question?
I do, Chris. Can you somehow move this over so we can see what the lines are? Okay. Thanks.
Can you not see it?
I've got it now.
Okay. So looking at the budget form, when you do submit a modification or you do submit a final budget, it's, I think, a little bit easier for everyone if we have those all on the same budget form. So what we had done in previous years that made it a little bit bigger was we went ahead on the initial, had the extra columns available. When you do submit a modification, just add a column and put in the new amounts. Some of you, for the modifications this last year, had entered, if your administrative salaries for federal funds was $100,000. For the modification, you might put negative 5,000 if you were moving that out of there. That's not what I want you to do. If you are filling it out, you would just put the new amount in there. That way, compared with what your initial budget was, we can easily see, okay, you've decreased that 5,000, and then we'll look for a $5,000 increase somewhere else. Even if you weren't changing a line, just fill everything out. With the new amounts, or with what the amounts will be on your modification, even if there was no change. Are there any questions about that? This is the way some of you are already doing it. Another new thing on these budgets is that we have included the activities that are considered administrative costs. That was an Octave requirement. So you now have those available there. What is considered administrative? I know we've kind of delineated things for a very long time in Kansas between administration on the top, instruction on the bottom. Just because you are an administrator does not mean all of the duties that you perform are administrative. So please look at those definitions. If you have questions, we're more than happy to talk those through. But I think things are a lot more flexible than what we used to be. And we can look through that, and we can work on that together to make sure that we have an accurate representation of how you're spending your money. Some other items that we have, we're going to discuss corrections in more detail tomorrow as it pertains to sort of correctional spending, Section 225, how the RFP looked. A couple of the things I wanted to point out specifically were Section 300 is where you would list any special project funds that we may have given you throughout the year for the smaller grants that we have done. But sections 400, 500, 600, and 700 would be the amounts that you spend on correctional education, career services, training services, or one-stop infrastructure costs. Those are not budget items per se. So it's not an amount of your total budget, but it's the amount you spent on that item. So if you have using career services, one career service is assessment and determining eligibility for a program. And that has to be done based on someone's salary. So if you have an instructor and their salary is $50,000, and based on their job description, they spend 5% of their time on assessment and determining eligibility for programming. The amount you would put under career services would be 5% of that person's salary. So that's $2,500. That's not a separate budget allocation. That is merely a representation of how much you're spending on career services total, and we're asking for that for federal, state, and local funds so that we have an idea. We're required to report some of that on our final fiscal report, at the end of the year. And this, having it on the budget, gives us an idea of what you're spending your funds on. And it also keeps us from having to come back and ask for additional reporting from you at the last minute or throughout the year as we try to answer these questions. Another note, I've said this a couple times about training services. You likely do not have any expenditures on training services. I'll look at your final budget for last year, Kelly, and see. I haven't looked at it yet. Yeah, if you didn't put these on there, I will let you know. So you likely do not have any expenditures for training services, because the definition of training services are funds that you spend on the training itself. It's not your AOK instructor that co-teaches a course. It is, an example would be you using AFLA funds to pay student tuition or the cost for them to take a course. Because we have accelerating opportunity funding from the state legislature, those aren't even considered AFLA funds. So we are funding that a different way. So don't put anything in training services unless you really think that you are paying for the students' training directly. And if you have any questions about that, let me know. For the one-stop infrastructure costs, I know a lot of you are meeting your required contributions to the one-stop in kind, but that has still been evaluated at a dollar amount. Even if you are not exchanging cash, so $1,000 for example, if you're not giving your local one-stop $1,000 cash, but instead you're giving them $1,000 worth of web development time from your host institution, you would still list that as $1,000. Just the same as you can list in-kind, the fairly evaluated in-kind contribution on your local match. That is an amount that your local workforce board will have on their one-stop budget. They're already evaluating that amount. It's something that you have negotiated or your home institution negotiated on your behalf. So please put that on here, because that is something that we do have to report to the Department of Ed as well. I know not all of you are IELCE providers, but for simplicity's sake, we put the IELCE budget on the main budget form. So again, we don't have multiple documents, multiple pages. We try to make the tracking of documents and maintaining that as easy as possible for everyone involved. The last thing I will not harp on, but perhaps harp on for budgets is that they need to be signed. You cannot send me a new budget, an initial budget, a final budget that's just the document by itself and say, here you go. It has to be signed by you, and it also has to be signed by someone at your institution that has the authority to say the institution is going to provide this funding support. So that would be someone in your business office, your president, your vice president, CFO, whoever that is, they would also need to sign. It does not have to be a printed, signed in ink, scanned document. You can sign it electronically, but you will have to put a signature on it. If you want to send me an unsigned one and have me verify that we will approve it before you go through that signature process, that's fine. But before we can consider a budget completed, we will need you to have it signed. And then we will sign it and we will send it back to you. Any questions about the budget or the budget process?
Chris, this is Janice, and I do have a couple of questions. So the form that we have been preparing for submission by the end of the week is the newer form that has the blue bar for program income. Are we using the correct form, or which one are
You
we?
would use, so this is the FY21 forward budget. You would still use the budget we had last year. So the one that you're referencing today in your earlier email
Mhm.
was the correct one.
So that's the one we complete and submit by Friday.
For the final, yes.
Okay, all right. Then a couple other questions.
Mm-hmm.
Line 300, if we received integrating adult ed and CT, would that go on that line? I'm not sure that I have a clear understanding of the exhaustive list of what would go on line 300.
So if it's a good example are things that we're probably not doing in FY21. But a good example would be the special project funds to attend the WIOA conference in Wichita. This was kind of a catch-all thing. We also gave out some money for STAR that could have gone on line 300. It's just for some of the little ones. The Integrating Academics has its own budget reporting process because that's a braided funding grant. So if you have questions about what should or should not go there, because each institution has had the ability to get funds, get different funds, we can talk about that before you make your submission.
Okay. Then my last question is the line 700, which is not on the new form.
This is the
Should
new
it be?
form.
The new form with the blue program income bar.
The one with the program income bar is last year's budget.
I'm sorry, I must have misunderstood. I thought you said that's the one we are to submit this week.
Because that is for last year. Let's touch base afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hey, Chris, are you done with this particular topic? Because I wanted to make sure that I have exactly what the reports are. I went back and looked at the PowerPoint you set out. So what's due by Friday is any corrections we need to make in ACES, the DVC surveys, the SOE, Statement of Expenditures, the final budget with the career services line added. Is that it?
That sounds correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chris.
Hey, Chris, this is Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
Under the 300 line for special projects, the money that we received from the state, that 1,300,
Has a separate reporting.
that's separate reporting. Okay, thank you.
So any other budget questions? Right, I'm going to switch one more thing. Yep. So I just had one of those I was on mute moments for the last several minutes. So luckily, this is the last thing that we're doing today. So as you can see on my count or my screen, I'm sharing the reporting calendar for next year. If you haven't had a chance to look at the one that we sent in the meeting packet, it starts with today's meeting. What I wanted to focus on most of all right now is the reporting for next year. We have cut back on that. We're no longer asking for a quarterly data validation checklist. We have moved that to be due at the same times as the statement of expenditures. So at the end of quarter one, So October 15th, you will have a data validation checklist, statement of expenditures, and you will need to complete your follow-up surveys. But then in quarter 2, there are no reports due. Then on April 12th for quarter 3, DVC, spring statement of expenditures, follow-up. And then kind of on the same timeline as this year, July 30th, final reports would be due. And we've also added this checkbox, which I hope will make Karen happy for next year, since she just asked this question.
Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. The IELCE reporting dates are the exact same as everything's on the same schedule.
So you're not asking for a second quarter on the surveys?
Those would still be due each quarter. We'll go back and add those just to be specific, because we don't want you to get too behind on those. But as far as things that you, like the data validation checklist, we're cutting back on that. Just like last year, we cut back on the statement of expenditures. Aaron, did you have anything you wanted to add to the calendar or any other reminders?
Nope, I just wanted to make sure everybody had gotten what we emailed out late on Friday. And we can share those documents again through Zoom if we do, if anybody didn't get them.
Hector says yes. And then I know we've talked about how there is no WIOA conference this year in Wichita. We are hopeful that by October 2021, no specific dates at this time, but generally same time, same place, that we will be able to hold that conference face-to-face again. Any questions about anything that we've gone over today?
Mary, we'll get that updated and we'll get a new list out to everybody. Thank you for that.
It looks like there was a question about the IELC reporting dates. So we'll make sure and
Yes,
add them.
and they're the exact same as the regular reporting dates. So anything else?